Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 31 of the Overnight Feed recaps for Big Brother Season 26. A good Sunday morning to y'all. All right, special day yesterday. First of all, as a refresher, we have Tucker as HOH. Yes, Tucker won the wall competition, is on the block. He had nominated Cam, he had nominated Brooklyn, and he had nominated Quinn to go on the block. Yesterday, we had the veto competition, kind of an important competition for a few people. And we had a fun veto comp that we haven't seen in a while. We saw the comeback of Hide and Go Veto. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm ready to watch it on the episode Wednesday night. Hide and Go Veto makes its appearance back in the Big Brother house for the first time in 5 years. First time since I got to play it during my season. Such a fun, not so much fun cleaning up, but such a fun game to play in the veto competition. We had it, we played the game. We had some repercussions about it. Let's talk about who won it, though, because that's the important part, right? The winner of the Hide and Go Veto competition for 2024 season 26 is Tucker. Yes, sounds like a broken record. Yet again, Tucker has won veto. He won HOH. Now he controls veto. Total power in this house until Monday. And then after that, he's a lame duck. He can't compete the following week. He'll still have a lot of control just through intimidation and influence and all of that. But yeah, Tucker won the veto competition. And the big question at this point, is he going to keep the nominations the same? Is he going to maybe do something, as Tucker tends to do something a little different with the nominations? There was a lot of discussions with it last night. Now, the one thing that we know, Tucker can't use the veto and put himself on the block. Hey, if he could pull himself off HOH and make himself the back on the block, he'd probably do it. But no, he can't do that. But that doesn't mean he's going to leave the nominations the same. But lots of back and forth, and we'll talk about this evening. All right, now we did discover that at some point, I don't know, during the competition or during the hiding part or earlier in the day, at some point Tucker got a spider bite on his leg. We saw that they had circled with a black marker the bite on his leg to see if it gets bigger or not. There was talk later in the evening about waiting for a doctor to take a look at it. All I know, a spider bite, Tucker winning a lot of competitions. We now know why Peter Parker, aka Tucker, has been winning all of these comps. It's the spider bite. It's those special Burbank spiders. Spider-Man. Probably violated copyright there, something. But yeah, he's got a spider bite. Hopefully it's not anything too horrible. All right, feeds came back around 4:30 or so, Big Brother time. House is pretty much put back together. Kind of disappointed. I really would have preferred to see the winner and get to watch for the next hour or two as everyone cleaned up the house and saw what a mess it was. But we didn't get to see that. Now we know why the feeds were down for so long. It's because they were cleaning up. Yeah, I wish we could have seen it. We'll see a little bit on Wednesday, but not nearly enough. God, it took us forever when we cleaned up our house. But the house is pretty much put back together when the feeds come back. Tucker is happy he won veto, but more than happy about that, he seems very upset about something. Don't know what it is at the beginning. Eventually, we realize Tucker is upset because he's talking about Quinn and saying that he feels like Quinn came into his room and messed up Tucker's stuff intentionally. Apparently, Tucker's clothes are strewn everywhere. He's not happy at all about it. He calls out Quinn. Quinn denies doing it. Says, hey, bro, I didn't do it. It was not me. Tucker saying, yeah, and I know better than that. You're staying on the block. Good luck with the AI Arena competition. So any thought about Tucker maybe pulling Quinn off the block after thinking that Quinn's messed with this stuff? Maybe not so much. Of course, this is Big Brother and things change. But yeah, he's not happy that his clothes got messed up with. Angela comes up just a little bit later and says, look, Tucker, I just want to let you know that it was actually Cam who messed up your clothes. Now, does this make it more likely that Quinn maybe comes off the block if Tucker accused Quinn of doing this and then had some people come up and say it wasn't Quinn that did it? Does he feel a little guilty for calling him out and maybe make it more likely? We'll find out Monday, I suppose. But yeah, Angela's saying that it was Cam who did it. I don't know if Angela actually knows that it was Cam, if she overheard someone saying it and she overheard Cam mentioning it, or she's just trying to stir some things up and create some additional targets. I'm not really sure about her calling out Cam on that, but she's saying it wasn't Quinn. And if there's anyone who'd be happy to have Quinn the target, it's me, but it wasn't Quinn. We also heard on the feeds, though, Brooklyn telling Chelsea that it was Brooklyn who messed up Tucker's clothes. So, yeah, I think it was Brooklyn based on everything we heard throughout the evening. But Tucker's not happy about that. Angela later tells Quinn, comes up to Quinn, says, look, I know it wasn't you that messed up his clothes. Tucker was just maybe playing it up for the cameras a little bit. Quinn saying, yeah, it doesn't bother me. Whatever, I don't care. You can't get upset. If we were going to get upset during my season about people's clothes getting messed up, we would have had all of us going crazy on each other. Our house was completely destroyed. If you're going to play hide and go veto, you just expect anything in there is fair game. Now, during my season, we all agreed we would not hide veto in the kitchen in exchange for everyone agreeing not to mess with the food or milk or anything else in the kitchen. We all honored it. We all said if someone does hide it in the kitchen, they're going out the door. That's going to be the payback for lying about this. So we all agreed to it. No one hid the vetoes in the kitchen. It worked perfectly for us. But the rest of the house, fair game. Tucker can't be upset about it. He is, but he shouldn't be upset about it. It's hide and go veto. That's the purpose of it, Tucker. But he's upset. All right, we've got Chelsea and Brooklyn talking. They're wondering if Quinn really is Tucker's target. He keeps telling these two that Quinn is the target. But they're saying if that was the case, why was he so willing to offer Tucker safety on the wall? If he offered it in front of all of us, surely he would have honored it. So if Quinn's really his target, why did Tucker do that? They're curious about that, but they are thinking that Quinn is probably, hopefully, still Tucker's target. They're fingers crossed that's the case for these two. Brooklyn is wondering if there's any way that Tucker would use the veto on her. Yeah, I don't think so, Brooklyn. Don't think that's going to happen. That she's thinking that she may offer safety to Brooklyn, to Tucker, and say, look, if I was to win HOH, I'll give you safety. I'll give someone else, like Rubina, safety as well. If you won't put me up this week, I won't put you up next week. The problem is Tucker hasn't seen Brooklyn do anything to really demonstrate that there's a good chance that she'll win HOH next week. So I'm sure Tucker will just poo-poo that idea and just move on. But that's what Brooklyn's thinking she's going to do as a way to try to protect herself, maybe get Tucker to use the veto on her. Yeah, it ain't happening, Brooklyn. She's thinking, though, she and Chelsea are talking, they don't think it would make sense to pull Brooklyn off the block just to put up Chelsea. That's their worst fears, that the two of them end up together. It could happen. It very well could happen. All right, we've got Tucker and Brooklyn talking. Tucker is saying that, talking to Brooklyn in storage room, he's saying, look, the nominations weren't personal. I'm just putting up people that could beat Quinn. I think you'd be good at mental competitions, and therefore that's why you're up there. I need people who can beat Quinn. It's not anything personal at all. Brooklyn proceeds to tell Tucker about what an honest game she's playing so far. She's saying the reason that I'm on the block right now is because I played an honest game in terms of how I voted and all that. Everything I've done so far has been an honest game. So I am sure Tucker's agreeing with that, right? Yeah, not so much. Brooklyn's saying that she won't ask him to take her off, but that he does have her loyalty, that she could win HOH next week, but if she does, she doesn't really have a personal grudge against him. So he ought to feel safe that if she was to win HOH, they're cool, and that he does have her loyalty. He does have her, or she has his back and all that. So yeah, she's kind of kissing up to Tucker, as you should when you've got a guy who's HOH and controls the power. So she's letting him know that, yeah, I don't have anything against you. I don't want you to go, Tucker. All right, we've got Tucker and Joseph talking. Joseph is telling Tucker it was Brooklyn who trashed most of the house. It's Brooklyn who most definitely messed with Tucker's clothes. Everyone's quick to point the fingers to Tucker, right? He's saying that Brooklyn just let Tucker, he's upset. He says, not just that she did it. He's saying, yeah, whatever. He says, but the fact that she let you call out Quinn and really just lay into Quinn about that when she knew it wasn't Quinn, it was actually her. And he's saying that kind of perturbs me a little bit that she let you do that without saying something about it. Joseph is asking Tucker if Brooklyn is still a target. Tucker's saying, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens going forward at this point. Joseph is saying that the benefit to keeping Quinn is that Quinn tells Joseph a lot of stuff that he can pass on to Tucker. Again, Joseph is doing everything he can to try to keep Quinn from going home this week. He's saying as well that Brooklyn has pull over MJ and Rabina. So, why wouldn't you get Brooklyn out since she controls these other two? They're both saying that, agreeing that they're teamed up with the best person in the house. Joseph saying, yeah, Tucker, you're the best person in the house. I'm so glad I teamed up with you. Tucker saying, yeah, you're the best person in the house. I'm glad I teamed up with you. Are they really teamed up? Maybe for at least a little while. All right, we've got Tucker talking to, he's playing an Angela. He's got his ear to the door. He's listening. I can't remember who was outside. Quinn and Brooklyn. Quinn and MJ, and I think Brooklyn may have been out there as well. But Tucker's got his ear up against the door. He was in there having this conversation with Joseph. He tells Joseph, hey, leave and act like I'm not in here. So maybe they'll talk a little bit louder. So Joseph leaves. Tucker's got his ear up at the door, trying to hear what's going on in the bumper pool lounge area as well. He later tells Chemo that he could hear MJ and Quinn talking a lot of, what's called crap. Talking a lot of crap about him. It seems like it was more probably MJ than Quinn, but he says they were both talking a lot of stuff about me. So yeah, Quinn's staying on the block after that. You never know. The slightest little conversation can change things around. All right, Brooklyn is talking to Rabina. She's telling Rabina that Chelsea and Rabina and Tucker is all that Brooklyn has left in this game. The only people she trusts in the house. She doesn't trust anyone else except for those three people. It's God, Rabina, you and Tucker and Chelsea. Y'all are it. Y'all are I trust y'all completely. No one else. So she mentions that. Rabina is talking about chatting later with Chelsea and Brooklyn to come up with a game plan for going forward. Is Rabina buying this? Is Rabina really believing Brooklyn when she says she trusts Tucker and Rabina more than anyone else in this house? Is she buying into it, or is she just playing along to see what happens? I don't know. I hope she's not buying it. I just don't know for certain right now. But Rabina's saying, yeah, we'll talk later, figure out what we want to do. All right, we've got Chelsea and MJ complaining about Leah now. They complained about a few people last night. Complaining about Leah. They're saying that Chelsea is saying that Leah had approached her and Matt for a final three very early in the game start. And Chelsea in turn is saying, well, Leah turned on you as soon as Matt left, said I was never working with her. I was never working with them. I had nothing to do with them. I thought their showmance was too early. She's saying, MJ, Leah threw you under the bus as soon as she had an opportunity. There's talk about Leah going from guy to guy in this house based just on who's paying attention to her at the time, and then bad-mouthing whoever was before her and all of that. So they're just not really huge fans of Leah right now. Leah maybe isn't huge fans of theirs either, as we'll find out in a second. All right, we've got Chemo and Tucker talking. Tucker's thinking about how he needs to deal with this. He knows that Chelsea and Brooklyn and Cam are not necessarily pro Tucker, but how do you deal with it? So he's telling Chemo that he's thinking about maybe waking Chelsea up the night before Nom's, the veto ceremony, which would be tonight. He said, I'm thinking about just waking her up in the middle of the night and saying that I'm going to give her one last chance to come clean about her and Brooklyn and Cam and tell me the truth about everything. If she does that, well then, maybe she's good this week. If she doesn't, well, maybe she's not so good. He wants to wake her up though in the middle of the night, I guess, while her defenses are down, while her thinking's a little slow. But he's talking about doing that. We'll see if that happens tonight or not. Tucker is confirming to Chemo that Brooklyn is still the top target in his mind. Tucker is saying that Brooklyn controls Chelsea and Mackenzie, and therefore he's ready to get her gone. Chemo is saying he doesn't think Quinn would come after any of them at this point. Remember, Chemo and T-Core still want Quinn and Tucker to work together. So Chemo saying, yeah, I get it with Brooklyn. I absolutely do. That's fine. I just, I don't think Quinn needs to be your top target. Brooklyn's fine, but Quinn, yeah, he's not going to come after us. You think he wouldn't come after you? All right, Tucker is thinking that Chelsea is dangerous also. He's saying that maybe he could, maybe if we get Chelsea out or if we get Brooklyn out, we could then grab Mackenzie. He said, but we'll never be able to grab Chelsea. Say, that's right. If Brooklyn's gone, maybe we could grab Mackenzie come over with us. He says, but there's no way that Brooklyn will ever, or that Chelsea will ever come over here. So Chelsea's a lot more dangerous as compared to Mackenzie. Tucker is also telling Robina that Quinn is the only person that he might pull off the block. If he uses a veto, it's just going to be on Quinn. In other words, Cam, Brooklyn, you're up there to stay this week. You ain't coming off the block. All right, we've got this, we'll call it the 6th Avenue Alliance just because they made it official. But the 6th Avenue Alliance, which is Joseph and Tucker and Robina and T-Core and Chemo and Angela. The 6th Avenue Alliance is meeting up in the HOH room, except for Angela, who's not there. She's a have-not. I'm not sure if she was over in a have-not room or downstairs or what, but the other 5 are all meeting. Again, that's Joseph, Tucker, Robina, T-Core, and Chemo. They're all upstairs talking. Joseph is saying that the other people, which I assume is Mackenzie and Brooklyn, Chelsea, they're complaining about the way Tucker celebrated after he won Veto. They think he was over the top and all that. I'm sure Tucker doesn't care too much about that, but he's saying, hey, they're complaining about you. They're all talking about Cam and saying Cam just plays no game in his house or doesn't talk game to anyone in his house whatsoever. Tucker is talking about Brooklyn, saying Brooklyn is just absolutely mind controlling Mackenzie at this point in time. Joseph is saying that if they don't put Mackenzie up and they send Brooklyn home, that they can then pull Mackenzie in. So in other words, if you put Mackenzie on the block, whether you send her home or not, it may be tough to work with her. But if you send Brooklyn home, you leave Mackenzie alone, maybe we can pull her in over to our side. I think there's something to be said for that, because the more time Mackenzie spends in this house, the closer it looks like she's getting to the other side. So Joseph is thinking if you just leave her alone, keep Brooklyn as your target, we maybe can grab her later on. Tucker is saying he's still considering pulling Quinn off the block. Eventually, Angela does show up. Wonder what Angela thinks when she walks in and everyone except her is talking together. She said she was fine being at the bottom, but saying it and really being okay with it, 2 different things. But she does walk in. Tucker tells her that he's going to pull Quinn off. Angela is fine with that. Pulling Quinn off, putting up Chelsea. Angela's saying, yeah, no problem at all with that if you want to do that. He's saying that if Brooklyn somehow comes off the block at the BBAI arena, at that point they just send Chelsea home. And Angela's fine with that as well. All right, we've got MJ up in the HOH room with Tucker. Not just sitting in a chair, having a little conversation. No, Mackenzie's actually crawled into bed next to Tucker, under the covers and everything, sitting there trying to have a conversation. She's asking him what he's going to do with the veto. He's telling Mackenzie, saying, yeah, I'll probably keep it the same. It's too messy otherwise. I don't know. Why should I create more mess? I'll just keep it the same. Mackenzie is saying that Brooklyn and Chelsea, they're not going to put you up next week, Tucker. You don't have to worry about the 2 of them. They're other targets in this house. They're not going after you. Yeah, I think that's the case. But that's what Mackenzie is telling Tucker that. She's asking about T-Core and Chemo and how Tucker thinks about them, what he thinks about them. Tucker just says that they're always together. They're just always together. So Tucker kind of participating in conversation, but you can tell he's just kind of putting up with it more than anything else. He shut it down as quick as he could, but certainly Mackenzie knows her way up to the HOH room to talk to the people who are in power. All right, the backyard finally opened up again. These old privileged house guests who haven't had to go more than a couple of days without the backyard. Well, this week was a little different. They lost it, was a Monday or Tuesday, so they've gone a long time without the backyard. They got it back, so they immediately they're all outside. They spend a lot of the rest of the evening out in the backyard. A lot of just playing some games and talking and such, but a few conversations as well. All right, we've got wrong season. We've got Tucker and Leah talking. More complaining about clothes getting messed up during this competition. Tucker is mentioning the fact that, hey, none of Chelsea's clothes were messed up, but all of mine, all of T-Core's, all of Chemo's, and all of Angela's clothes were messed up. He said the fact that only certain people's clothes were messed up and not others, that shows it was intentional, and it wasn't to do with game. It was just people screwing with their clothes, and so that's why he's upset. This is going to be a fun veto competition to watch on Wednesday when it's on the TV show on CBS, because again, sometimes clothes just get messed up when people are searching. But we'll see if someone just actively goes in, like a Brooklyn, it sounds like, actively goes in and tries to mess up their clothes as much as possible. Wouldn't put it past anyone, but we'll see. All right, we've got Brooklyn and Chelsea and Mackenzie talking. Chelsea's complaining about people who suck up to those who have power. How in the world? People just float back and forth. Whoever's in power, that's who they go to. So she's not happy with that. Mackenzie says she's tired of it. She's wondering when in this house they can just have fun. Well, Mackenzie, it only gets worse. You just begun. You've got another 60 days or so. And as the numbers decrease, it only gets worse. So strap in and be ready for the ride, my friend. But yeah, Mackenzie's wondering when the fun starts in the house. This is the fun part, the strategizing, playing, and everything else. All right, Chelsea says she has no desire really to work things out with Joseph or Leah. And she's not going to do anything with Joseph. But with Leah, she says, but at least with Leah, I'm going to go talk to her. I'm going to ask her 1,001 different questions and just see what she says. See what I can find out about her. She does say that she doesn't want to be in Tucker's face all week long. She doesn't think that will help. Mackenzie says that you really shouldn't have to do that, Chelsea, because Tucker trusts you already. So I think you don't need to go be asking him for a lot of stuff. He trusts you, so just let it lie. Does he trust her? All right, Brooklyn later revealing her big secret. They're out playing pool. She and Brooklyn and Chelsea are playing pool with each other. Can I say this? Brooklyn, both of them, pretty good pool players. I was impressed. They know their way around a pool table. But both of them playing some pool. Brooklyn says, I've got this big secret to spill. I actually won. I'm a former Mrs. America. And so Chelsea just thinks that's amazing. She falls to the ground. She's laughing. She's like, oh my gosh. And so, yeah, Brooklyn said, I wasn't going to tell anyone. I swore up and down I wasn't going to tell anyone. But and she wouldn't tell Chelsea and said, I'm only going to tell you if you promise that you and me to the very end and all of that. And Chelsea said, well, sure, of course. I do think they are to the very end, but she wouldn't tell her until she actually got commitments to it. So she is a former Mrs. America. In the grand scheme of things, telling someone you're an undercover cop, maybe telling someone you're a former Marine, those are big secrets that I can see people really holding against you when it comes down to gameplay. Talking about the fact that you're a pageant girl, that you may have won Mrs. America, I don't know. I don't see that in the grand scheme of things as being the biggest secret that you could possibly reveal to other people. But she's being careful, and she has told Chelsea about it, but she's saying, you cannot tell anyone else. Chelsea's saying, yeah, I won't tell anyone else. All right, we've got Chemo and Tikor and Rubina talking about all of them wanting to talk to Tucker later about, I think it might be about not putting up Chelsea, but putting up Mackenzie instead. So we've got the three of them just really feeling like they need to make sure they stay in Tucker's ear. Chemo's worried. He says other people are in Tucker's ears right now. If they do that and we don't get back and have this conversation with Tucker, he may start listening to those other people instead of us. We need to make sure we're the ones in Tucker's ear and not someone else. Leah comes in at one point and is talking about how scary Chelsea and Brooklyn and someone else's attitude. I'm not sure if she was talking about Cam or Quinn. I don't know who the third person was. She said those three. But talking about how scary Chelsea and Brooklyn and someone else's attitude was before the competition, that they just felt so on top of the world and in control. She's saying especially Brooklyn. Her attitude before this thing was just something else. Tikor at one point tells Leah, says, Leah, I just want you to know how happy I am that you were in this house. You're such a joy to have in the house, and just saying nice words to Leah, which I think Leah appreciates. All right, eventually Tikor leaves. Mackenzie comes in. Mackenzie comes in time to hear Leah really just going off. It's like Tikor made this little mention to Leah about how happy she is to have her in there, and Leah just lets the floodgates open because Leah is now talking. She's just going off on unnamed people, talking about that people in this house that think that they can talk crap about Leah's friends, that they should know better than that because she'll shut it down. She'll shut the F down if that kind of stuff happens. That she's hearing some attacks that she doesn't think are cute or funny, that go way beyond gameplay. She's just had it going on and on about that it's a character flaw of the people who are doing these attacks. It says a lot about that person. That's not the way that Leah lives her life, and she's just fed up with it. She's just going to shut it down. On and on and on. It's a fairly long conversation that Leah's having with herself and whoever else is in there listening, which includes Mackenzie. So now, with all of this outrage that Leah's expressing, I'm waiting for Leah to act on it, to shut it down, to go call out some people and do it. Because I haven't seen it yet, Leah. You really haven't gone after anyone in that form, calling them out. But hey, she's going to shut it down. So I'm sure it's going to happen anytime soon. But she does talk about all of that while Mackenzie's in the room. And so sure enough, Mackenzie immediately leaves and goes and tells Chelsea what she just heard, thinking that it could be Brooklyn that Leah is upset with. Chelsea's saying, well, it could be, but it also could be Cam. She's saying that Leah told her earlier that Cam won't look at her, won't hug her, how he flipped against her. And that Leah, she said, I told Leah to go talk to Cam, but she hadn't done it yet. She just doesn't want to have anything to do with Cam right now. So it was Leah upset with Cam. Is Leah upset with Brooklyn? I don't know, but Leah's upset with someone. Chelsea is saying that she doesn't appreciate the way that Leah plays the game, that she floats to everyone. So yeah, we've got Leah, not the biggest fan of Brooklyn and Chelsea and Mackenzie as well. And those three probably not the biggest fans of Leah either. All right, we've got Joseph and T-Core and Chemo talking. Joseph is saying that for him, Brooklyn or Cam need to go home this week. That is who Joseph thinks needs to go home, Brooklyn or Cam. He says Mackenzie is a good competitor, true, but she probably won't be coming for us if she wins HOH. She'll be going after other folks. But Brooklyn and Cam, they'll come for us. They're upset with us. He does not want Brooklyn to stay in his house. Brooklyn has talked very poorly about Joseph, and he's had a few choice words for her as well. So he definitely wants Brooklyn gone, but he also is saying, hey, and if not Cam, one or the other, they need to go. He does not want Quinn to go, whether or not the veto is used. He's still trying to protect Quinn. T-Core is saying that it's not really Brooklyn that's a problem. It's her attachments. I take that back. She's saying it's not Chelsea that's the problem. It's Chelsea's attachments, as in Brooklyn and Quinn and Cam, perhaps. She's saying Chelsea's fine. And she's saying, if Chelsea goes up on the block, I absolutely will not be voting to send her home. I don't care who says what, who expects what. I will not be voting to send Chelsea home. She's put her ultimatum out there. She wants to make sure that Quinn is still good with them. Again, she and Chemo still want to try to get Tucker and Quinn working together. So she wants to make sure that Quinn is good with them as well. T-Core is also saying that she wants to make sure that Tucker puts up Mackenzie and not Chelsea. She basically is saying we need to have Quinn be good with us, good with Tucker. So Tucker needs to use a veto to pull Quinn off the block, but don't be putting up Chelsea, then put up Mackenzie. That's what needs to happen. We see T-Core's direction strategy that she wants at this point in time. So she's saying that. She's saying that if Tucker is going to make decisions that only benefit him, the T-Core may just have to bounce. Well, here's the thing, T-Core. If maybe you need to win a competition at some point if you want to make some decisions that benefit you as opposed to other people. That's kind of the way it works. I understand that she's pushing. I'm not the biggest fan of people issuing ultimatums like that and threatening to walk away from an alliance if things don't happen the way you want it to happen. I get why she would want this to happen. But at the end of the day, Tucker's the HOH. Tucker has the veto. He controls what happens. You got to work with what happens. And if you walk away just because he uses a veto the way you didn't want to work, I think it impacts and hurts your game going forward. So I hope she's just blowing off, venting some steam right here more than anything else. But she's threatening to walk from the alliance if Chelsea goes up on the block. All right, Leah is still going off on others while she's talking to Angela and Rabina. T-Core and Chemo eventually show up. They kind of shut that down. They have a big happy birthday. They sing to Angela. So moving on to friendlier conversations at that point. All right, finally, we've got Joseph talking to Rabina and T-Core. Joseph's telling them about all the alliances, all the conversations that occurred in the first week or two. So he's just kind of bringing them up to speed now that they're working together. There's more talk from Rabina about the game and making the game a priority over relationships and how she's forced. She's just forced. She's going to have to break her own heart a little bit by playing the game is her priority, and so a lot of that kind of talk going on. Some talk about how this nomination, this veto, should be handled. Rabina is starting off by saying that she thinks the nomination should stay exactly the same. Don't get any more blood on anyone's hands. Just leave them the way they are now. But T-Core saying, no, we can't have that. We need to go ahead and use the nomination, the veto, and pull Quinn off, and then at that point put up Mackenzie instead. So again, this is what we heard a little bit earlier. T-Core saying again, she's saying if we don't use that veto on, we can't just leave it alone, Rabina, because if we don't use that veto on Quinn, there's a chance he's going to go elsewhere. We aren't going to be able to get him to work with Tucker and make us a best stronger group. We've got to protect Quinn so he feels a little more indebted to us. Once we use it on him, then we'll go ahead and put up Mackenzie and do that. She's saying that if Chelsea goes up next to Brooklyn, that not only did she say earlier that she'd walk, but she's also saying, look, if Chelsea doesn't go up, if Chelsea goes up next to Brooklyn, no matter what happens, Chelsea will never trust us again after that. I kind of think that's the case no matter what at this point in time. I don't think they're going to get Chelsea's trust back, but she's saying and the only way to get Chelsea's trust is to not put her on the block. Chemo is saying that using a veto on Quinn is a long-term relationship builder. Again, he's throwing out another reason why Quinn should be pulled off the block. It'll make it easier to work with him going forward. T-Core is saying that Brooklyn and Chelsea are using Mackenzie as a puppet. She recognizes that, which really is why Brooklyn and Chelsea should be the primary targets, T-Core, instead of Mackenzie. Because if you get rid of either one of those, you do have the possibility that Mackenzie's enough of a floater that you could get her back over to your side, not as part of the core group, just as a potential vote somewhere down the road. So yeah, T-Core saying Mackenzie is definitely the puppet for these other two. There's talk about who they want in jury. T-Core does not want Mackenzie on the jury. Now she's continuing to push that Mackenzie needs to go home this week because there's only one person left who isn't going to be on jury. Well, I guess 3 people, 2 people in the final 2 chairs. Only one person left, we think, that's going to be pre-jury. I assume it's going to be a 9-person jury this year. We don't know that for certain, but that's the assumption. So T-Core saying, yeah, Mackenzie needs to go home this week so she's not on jury. And there you have it, guys. It was a long night. Lights out about 5:30 or so Big Brother time, 7:30 Houston time. Yeah, made for a long evening. But they had the backyard, a lot of conversations to be had. I expect today will be a little more chill, maybe not with the veto ceremony taking place on Monday. They may really ramp up the pressure on Tucker. We'll see how Tucker handles a lot of people whispering and making a lot of suggestions about how he needs to handle this veto decision come Monday. I'll be back tomorrow morning to let you know. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Let you know maybe what Tucker's going to do with this veto. Probably not. But I'll at least let you know all the conversations that were had over the next 24 hours. Until then, guys, y'all have a great one. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.